Yo, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this actually started just wherever, and we go on from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, how's work?
It was great. It's just a very long day.
Hmm. Hopefully, I'm gonna say this just 'cause. Hopefully, Starbucks finds this. Like, the Starbucks Corporation
Yeah.
sponsors us.
Well, so do you see that sign in the back room about
Yeah, I've seen
media
that.
relations? This might be covered under media relations. I
I
don't know.
mean, I doubt it 'cause it's not based off of that,
True.
and we're not there recording it.
Could be. Don't know.
That'd be interesting though, doing like an own thing there, like a coffee tasting. Like,
Ooh, coffee tasting the podcast. Yeah.
hmm, you can do that. I already have the boring one.
Oh, yeah. And we'll see if podcasts are my thing.
I mean, you talk a lot.
I do talk a lot.
You do.
I know. Yeah. I'm well aware that I talk a lot.
That's like one thing. Like the only thing I can't do, yeah, I have a podcast, but then again, it's me just listening.
To other people talk.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. So you got to get all of the people who are really good at talking
Hmm.
on so you can just sit there and listen.
Yeah. No, then again, I'll make people talk because I had another guy that he was like, dude, I've never talked this much before. I'm like, oh, really? Because he just started going on, and I just
Yeah.
sat back, and he was like, dude, I've never talked this much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
Yeah. See, that's all you have to do with customers. It's customer connections, right?
Customer connection. It just depends on the energy I
The
get
person.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. There have been ones that I'm like, ooh, and I'm going to nope right
It's like,
away
dude,
from the
give me my
window.
drink. Hurry up.
Yeah. It's like, look, I'm only talking to you so that this doesn't feel like it's taking 1,000 years. We had 9-minute window times today.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as 20.
No, not as bad as 20. I heard about that though. And
Dude,
that
I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
I have so many questions.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that.
Sounds like a good idea.
I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
All right, we're gonna start off with your tattoos. So
Oh.
you can't really see it.
these. No, this is.
It's like,
There's a jellyfish, and there's a manatee and a sea turtle, and then seashells in between.
you're gonna have to speak up a little more. Just saying.
Okay.
But you want to explain that tattoo?
Yeah, so I kind of knew I wanted to get a sleeve for a while. I have 11. This was number 11 of my tattoos, and I knew I was going to get a sleeve eventually. And all of my other ones have kind of been things that were important to me. I've got a Tinkerbell on my rib cage, and that was kind of my mom's nickname for me because I was small and had a big attitude, which surprises no one who's known me. I have a penguin on my other rib cage. That's like my second favorite animal. And then, just a bunch of other ones that either I liked or were things that were important to me.
Yeah, people will probably see your attitude as we progress.
Yeah.
It's fine
Probably.
though.
It's fine. It's just who I am. But so when I was thinking about what would I want that's that big, that's important to me, it was just the ocean. It's like where my soul feels most at rest or most at peace or whatever hokey other thing you want to say about it. The manatee, because manatees are my top favorite animal. Big floaty sea potatoes. Love them. The jellyfish is actually a dual symbolism for PTSD. So like the strength and endurance that comes through having PTSD, which I have. And then I like turtles.
That was like that meme. I like turtles.
I know, yeah. It's just like, who doesn't like turtles? People who use straws. Those are people that don't like turtles.
Nitro lids.
Nitro lids all the way. Although it really bugs me when somebody's already put a flat lid on there and they're like, can I get a nitro lid? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Go ahead and save that straw and just throw the entire other piece of plastic away.
That was like the very first thing I saw from you. Cause like that was before I started. I was like, I'll get a water. And
And
you
I
just handed
just-
me like the nitro. No, you asked me for a nitro lid. I'm like, what's that?
And I was like, well, here, you get it. You don't have a choice. You will not use a straw.
That's good though. Have you been to SeaWorld?
I have been to SeaWorld. I have issues with SeaWorld.
Speak up.
I wish that their focus was as much on conservation as they like to say it is. But when you're breeding orcas in captivity, that's not so much about conservation. If they were rehabilitating orcas, that would be great. I know they do a lot of rehabilitation work with sea turtles and other animals, but I don't know, man. I don't think you can say it's about as much about conservation as they like to say it is.
Have you heard of Marineland?
Marineland is in Florida as well? Or is that here?
I don't know about Florida. I know it's like in Canada. There's a big one. There's a few big ones in Europe. Apparently, it's worse in SeaWorld. Like I was watching a documentary because they have like in one giant tank, they have dolphins, and the other one it's like orcas. And they're talking about they had to drug them or else they'll get bored, and they'll start attacking people. I mean, they would get bored because you know how
They get
intelligent.
like restless.
Yeah, because you know how intelligent dolphins are. Because you can keep a goldfish and a
Yeah.
little thing because it'll forget.
Well, and
Like
like the running, I don't even know that it's real, but the goldfish's memory is 2 seconds.
It's not real,
Yeah,
but it's
but-
still, you get the point.
Yeah. Dolphins aren't like that. Neither are orcas, because orcas are also in the porpoise family.
Orcas are actually, yeah, they're like dolphins. What's the other one?
Well, I mean, just porpoises in general,
Hmm.
because there are different species of dolphins, and then orcas are in the porpoise.
No, they both are in the same
Yeah.
category because they're not. People think they're whales because they call them killer whales.
Yeah.
Even though they're
Yeah.
not.
Nope, they're porpoises.
But still, whales are super smart as well.
Did you see that video? It was, I think it was on Instagram. It was probably on Facebook too. But this lady was she does whale research, and she was swimming in the ocean, and there was apparently a tiger shark that she couldn't see, but she was photographing a whale, and I want to say it was a blue whale, but that may not be right. But the whale kept shoving her under his fin because he knew that the tiger shark was there, and she had no idea.
What?
So she said she kept getting freaked out because he kept trying to roll her under his fin, and then eventually he sensed that she was getting freaked out, so he went under her and like rose up out of the water, so she was basically sitting on the top of his head, and he lifted her out of the water because he could tell that he was freaking her out by trying to put her under his pectoral fin.
I mean, it's a giant whale. Who
Yeah,
wouldn't be?
I would be freaked out too.
Like, dude, what do you do?
Yeah. Are you trying to squish me? Yeah, but no, he saved her from a tiger shark, and I guess that's what whales will do for like seals and stuff too. Yeah.
I've also seen like videos and also read stories about dolphins doing that with people. Like they'll guide them to shore because they're usually in pods. You'll never find
Yeah.
a dolphin that's alone, and they'll help them to like the sea or wherever they need to go, a boat or whatever. That's interesting.
There was a relatively famous actor who got rescued by a pod of dolphins, and it was for a while like an urban legend, and then he was on some interview show and he was talking about it, and I can't remember who it was.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, but I don't remember who it was. And then there are the stories of like little kids getting lost in the ocean, and then pods of dolphins will bring them back to the shore, and it's just incredible. We don't deserve animals.
We really don't. Then again, we did start out as animals.
We are animals.
We are
Whether
animals.
people want to believe that or not, we have the same instincts and the same
I
evolutionary.
know it's just like the first episode.
Yeah.
We're not fungus. We're not bacteria.
That was my favorite part of that episode was, what do you think you are? You're not fungus. You're not
That's-
bacteria.
See, that was how my brain worked as a kid. 'Cause I was like, wait, we're not reptiles. We're not plants. Then we have to be animals.
Yeah.
That was like my thing.
Yep. We are animals. We're just animals who have figured out how to build more technologically advanced things than dolphins. And, you know, the opposable thumb is coming really handy for that.
Then again, that's where we compare ourselves to apes.
Mm-hmm.
Because apes haven't done that, and we've been around for more or less the same time.
Yeah.
And we did, or at least that's how people do believe in evolution. That's how, like, the theory is that we're like a separate
a separate
branch.
branch of, yeah. Because I think for the longest time, the belief or even common misconception was that we evolved from apes, and that's one of the big arguments for people who don't believe in evolution as well. If we evolved from apes, then why are apes still evolving into humans? And it's not that we necessarily evolved from apes, but we evolved from a similar branch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then again, look how apes are like chimps. Like, you know how strong they are? Like, have you seen pictures of like hairless chimps? They look like bodybuilders. Even they can be an average chimp, but they look like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
That could be another thing, because we're not fast. We're not really strong. We can't climb trees.
Not comparatively. No, we pretty much suck comparatively.
Yeah, we do. So that's like a theory I've heard, and that's something I believe in, that they just started moving away from that and started, like, they figured out a way to start using tools and use that as an advantage.
Yeah, because otherwise we as a species would not have survived if it weren't for the use of tools. And, you know, that whole fire thing, that's been pretty handy too.
Yeah, it did. Have you seen that, like, videos and pictures of apes using tools?
Well, I mean, it's not just apes. Have you seen the videos of elephants that will paint pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also ravens.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy. Well, and there are, again, to go back to SeaWorld, there was a seal or something that they had that would paint pictures too.
A seal?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. And again, it just has the paintbrush in its mouth and, you know.
It's doing stuff, and we call it art.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do. Artists.
Yep.
It's like, hey, this is art.
I dub this art.
I remember there was a video of a raven who provoked two cats. Like, this is what happened. There was like two cats that were on roofs. They're like separate roofs. And then like the raven goes to one cat, he just like starts like annoying him. And it'll get mad, and then it'll fly to the other side, do the same thing to that one. He just go back and forth. And they eventually, I don't know what happened, they just start fighting, and like the two cats are beating each other up. And the funny part about the ravens, he goes up to them and like just watches. He doesn't intervene, just watches.
You know, that's so funny that to see that happening in the animal kingdom, and then you look at again what we want to call some people want to call us not animals, the human kingdom, the human world. How many times does that happen? You got one person who's going behind somebody's back and talking, and they're getting annoyed, and that person's getting hopped up, and then they go to the other person, they're like, hey, yo, I heard so-and-so said this about you, and then they're talking shit to that person. Up. Yeah. And then you've got these two people who start fighting, and you got third person in the back going, yep, this was all worth it.
I'll be honest.
It's my own personal reality TV show. Of course you do.
I don't even know. I started like, hey, this person did this. I get super bored. I just tell one thing. I go to the other person, tell them this thing, and they just like start fighting and arguing. I'm just sitting there in the back.
It's your own personal reality TV show, not on TV. It's your reality show.
That's what I do. It's fun. And going back to the bird, like they even fell out of the roof, and you can see like two cats on the ground now. Like the bird still flies down. And,
to watch it.
Watch it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Of course you do that.
Yeah, I would do that. There was another one. It was like a raven. It somehow figured out how to turn on a car. So because someone had a pet, you would say pet raven. And it was like, you want to go out for a drive. So what the raven would do is it would go to the car, turn it on. And when another person starts driving it, it'll fly next to it.
Huh.
So it's like you're walking your dog, but you're flying your raven.
But you're flying your raven. Yeah.
So I want to do that.
I don't know that I'd want a pet raven. They freak me out. Them and crows.
They're cool.
It's like the scene in a horror movie, you know? The raven or the crow starts cawing or croaking, depending on which one. And then something bad's going to happen. The mist starts rolling in, and then, you know, serial killer.
Maybe they're just assholes like that.
Yeah, they evoke the mist.
They'll call death like, hey, you need to kill this person. Why? It'll just start saying whatever. And it goes back to the other person like, yo, you're going to die. And just goes back and forth.
And that's the Raven's version of shit talk.
It is.
Interesting theory.
So, if you were to have a wild animal, what would you have, and why?
Mm.
As a pet.
The manatee lover in me wants to say manatee, but I just know that's not practical. If I'm going practical wild animal, I would have to go with like a raccoon or a fox.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just see all the videos of them and they're so cute. And like foxes, you can train kind of like dogs. They have a little bit more neuroses and they're nocturnal, which would be rough. And so are raccoons. But I don't know. They're just so cute.
Raccoons are assholes.
They're cute assholes.
They're still assholes. They have like the little gloves, the little masks.
I know, I love it.
Isn't that...
See, now you're doing it.
Yeah, now I'm breaking it. Isn't that what a bandit would do? Like, they look like little bandits. They're like, yo, I'm gonna eat your trash.
Yeah.
Then again...
steal your trash.
They do eat trash.
They do. So they're trash pandas.
Trash pandas.
Although my dog, Aries, is basically a raccoon. I think he's as close as you can get to a raccoon without actually being a raccoon. He is highly food motivated, and he will take any given opportunity to sneak some food. He uses his paws like their hands. So last night I was playing fetch with him, and he likes fetch for about 5 minutes, and then he's over the running.
He's like, yeah, I'll catch it. Yeah, I'll catch it later.
Yeah, well, and he'll still go get it because it's still his ball, and he still wants his ball. And you're not going to take his ball away from him. He'll just kind of start slowly moving further away from me when he brings it back. So he brought it back, and I could tell he was done, so he put it on the ground. And then a minute later, he decided he wanted to play with it again, so he'd, kick it with his front paw. He kicks it, and then he'll, it starts to get just where it's almost out of his reach, and he'll reach his paw out and grab it and bring it back. And he has this stuffed dinosaur that's almost the same size as he is. And he'll, grab onto the stuffed dinosaur with his paws.
Get a little closer to this.
He'll grab onto the stuffed dinosaur with his paws like their hands. And you'll see him, just hugging it. He's pathetic. But, yeah, he's basically a raccoon.
What breed is he?
He is a Staffordshire Terrier mix.
Oh, what?
I don't want to say pit bull because he's not a pit bull because a pit bull is a different breed of dog.
Mm-hmm.
But they're commonly called pit bulls. So he's an American Staffordshire Terrier mix. So they tend to be a little bit smaller. He's got the brindle coating. He's got the floppy ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he's 35 pounds.
Oh, so he's little.
Yeah, he's not that big. And then Apollo is my retriever hound mix. And he's 65 pounds. A little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just dopey.
Explain.
There's a running joke with Apollo that he ate a giant bag of weed as a puppy and he's been high ever since.
Did he eat a giant bag of weed?
I don't know. I didn't have him. So that's just kind of our running joke because we got him like that. And he's just always he's got the retriever energy where he'll want to play and he'll run. He can run forever. I think the longest run I've ever gone on with him was 10 miles. And we got back to the house and he acted like he was dying for 5 minutes. And then he looked at me like, oh, okay, we going again? But then when he's not playing or, he's just kind of laying there, he just looks like he's stoned. So stoned. And some of the things he does, he's very intelligent because, you can just say something to him. Go the other way around the couch. And he'll stop what he's doing and go the other way around the couch. And then he'll run head first into the wall for no reason. It's fine. Yeah. So he's just very, I picture his voice as Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right, all right. Yeah.
Go give me food.
No, his would be more like, come give me love. Apollo's not as food motivated as Aries. Aries is convinced that he's starving at all times of the day, even if he's already eaten, just eaten.
Yeah, my dog, my chocolate lab, he's super food motivated.
Yeah.
Which goes with his name, because he's brown, so I call him Yogi, like the bear.
Very appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll see him steal food from our little dog because we also have a little Jack Russell.
Yeah.
So he'll steal his food.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Aries won't steal food anymore because he knows that he gets in big trouble.
Mm.
But you will see he always finishes first, and you'll see him kind of come stand behind Apollo.
He's just waiting to see if he's gonna finish his food.
Like, he won't get near him. He'll just kind of come stand behind him, and his head dips low, and his tail's kind of straight out. And he's just like wagging his tail just slightly side to side. Like, are you gonna? I'm here. If you need me to finish your food, it's fine. I'll finish your food. It'll be all right.
I did that when I was smaller, and my little brother didn't finish his food. I just like, hey, you gonna finish that?
You gonna finish that? I do that as an adult.
I got it. I used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's like, hey, I noticed you're not eating as fast, and there's still a significant amount of food on your plate. You gonna finish that? I'll eat it. It's fine. It'll be fine.
I've seen my dog kill a squirrel and eat it.
Sad.
I mean, it's nature. I was proud of him.
Like, I mean, impressed that he got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's Apollo's dream, I'm convinced, is to catch a squirrel.
That's every dog's dream, is to catch a squirrel.
Know what to do with it.
Would he eat it, do you think?
I honestly think he would know what to do if he actually caught a squirrel. So here and back in Charleston, the little geckos that are all over the place, they were all over in our patio, our screened-in patio, and they'd get on the screen so he could still see them, and he would catch them. I had a Rottweiler. Her name was Athena. She was the best at catching them, and she would destroy the lizards. But after she passed, he caught his first lizard. Like, he had taken up the mantle of catching the lizards. Mm-hmm. And he caught it, and he kind of looked at it and dropped it and spit it out, and then cocked his head and looked at it like he didn't know what he was supposed to do with it now. So he, like, started pawing at it like he was playing with it. And he, like, did the, like, jump down and thing.
Yeah.
Well, he started doing that to the lizard like he was now supposed to play with it. And then the lizard's, like, on the ground hissing. And he's still playing with the lizard. And then finally he just walked away because he didn't know what to do after he caught it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Then again, that kind of goes into evolution. Because dogs evolved from wolves.
So they were supposed to hunt.
Yeah, they're supposed to hunt and eat their prey.
Yeah, but now, his lineage hasn't had to hunt for how many years, and so he knows that instinct is there. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. But once I get it, what do I do? Because I don't have to use it for food. Mom's got my food inside. That comes in the nice little silver bowl. They don't have to hunt for food or water. They're fine.
See, my dog did that, and he ate the squirrel. So that's why I was proud of it. Oh, yeah. You know what to do with it. You killed it.
His instincts are a lot clearer than Apollo's are. But then again, Apollo's high. So,
Oh, Apollo's a high one.
Yeah, Apollo's a high one. Aries has zero interest in squirrels. They'd probably scare him. He's afraid of cats. My friend's mom had a Maine Coon, and she was watching Aries. And he came around the corner just to see what was up. He's highly intrigued by the idea of cats. Mm-hmm. He's very interested in the idea of cats. He thinks they're snuggly, and that would be fantastic. This Maine Coon, who was probably as big as he is, was sitting around the corner, and he popped his head around the corner, and she just hissed at him, and he, like, straight backed up. You know the Homer Simpson gif where he's backing into the bush?
Oh, yeah.
That was Aries with the cat. He's like, nope, I'm out. You're right. My bad.
See, as soon as my dog started getting big enough to, like, where he's pretty strong, I had to stop walking him, like, over there. Like, if I want to take him out on walks, I need to take him in my truck and move it somewhere else. Oh, that was yours.
Sorry,
I thought
that was
my
me.
alarm. Yeah, I didn't even set mine. Did I? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, I had to do that because we have neighborhood cats. I don't know if you saw any on your way in.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we have a few. So, especially in, like, that corner, because that's where they live, or whatever. And it takes me a good half an hour to get them out of that area because they just, like, stop and stare at the cats
and not want to move.
Mm-hmm. See, it's not even that, like, sits down and waits. Like, he'll stalk it. Like, he's about to attack.
The cat.
Yeah. I've had once. That's when I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stop walking you.
Yeah.
Like there was a cat like right in the middle of the road, so he just stood there, and I guess the cat got spooked and he started running.
And
So the
he
dog
went,
started
yeah.
running.
Yeah.
And we're about the same like strength. I'm like, dude,
I'm gonna lose this fight to my dog. Yeah. When I walk Apollo and Aries, that's about 100 pounds a dog. But I've got them trained very well and they listen to me. Even Apollo, who the squirrels around here, I swear, are taunting him because they'll wait. They'll sit on the edge of the sidewalk and just stare him down as we're walking. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good. And yeah, he's gotten to the point now where he'll listen and he won't go after him. When I was in Charleston still, though, he scaled 10 feet up a tree after a squirrel on the leash.
Dogs can climb?
He could. He did. Yeah, he went up that tree.
Was it like vertical or was it one of those like...
No, it was vertical.
Almost dead. What?
Yeah, he went up
the
tree. My dog. Yeah. This is the same dog who, if he could figure the over part of jumping over a fence, could easily jump over an 8-foot fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just can't figure out the over part.
So he just jumps.
He just jumps up. He used to jump up, and on the fence at my house in Charleston, we had the middle part had the support beam that would go across. So he'd jump on that and then hook his paws over the top of the fence, and he'd just look over the fence into the neighbor's yard like, hey guys, what's up? Just want to say hi. See how you're doing. Yeah.
Got any food over there?
Yeah. No, that's not the food motivated dog.
Oh.
Aries.
I'm bad at names.
Yeah. No, Aries is the food motivated one. He's my small one. And then Apollo is the love motivated. And he's my big one.
Yeah, I'm still going to forget after 10 seconds.
Yeah, I can't. Other than Apollo, the big one is the retriever mix.
The
and
food
Apollo, nope, is the god of the sun. No, I can't. I got nothing for you.
Just say the food or the love one.
The food or the love one. Okay, I'll say Aries, the food motivated dog. Or Apollo, the love motivated dog. I'll just keep saying it till you get it.
Yeah, I'll get it eventually.
Yeah. Probably doesn't help that you haven't met them, so.
That is very true.
Yeah.
'Cause I need to see.
Yeah. You just have a vague idea of my dogs.
Yeah, basically. I've seen them in pictures, but not.
Not in person. Yeah. I think the one time I brought them
through
the drive-through. Yeah. But that was a crazy day, I feel like, too.
I don't even remember. I just remember seeing a pup.
Yeah. No, that was Mickey. Not my dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were dog sitting. Yeah. Yep.
I was going to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say. It was...
About dogs?
Yeah, it was dog related. Oh, yeah, sometimes I just feel bad for, like, the little ones. 'Cause I don't like them. Like, not... I like my Jack Russell, because he was bred to hunt rats.
Right, yeah.
Like the little poodles or Yorkies or whatever.
But aren't pugs your favorite dog?
Yeah, that's an exception. Pugs are an exception.
You know, pugs were bred just like
to be cute. Yeah, I know that.
For the royals. Okay, cool. As long as we're clear on that. They have literally no purpose.
Or intelligence.
They're just smushed face little special creatures. Yeah.
I remember that one video that there was a dog drinking out of the shadow of the water. It was a pug.
I think that about sums up pugs.
It's still my favorite. Don't talk shit about pugs around me.
They're cute.
Yeah, they are.
They're cute. They look like they ran headfirst into a wall and their face never recovered.
That's probably what happened.
The first pug was created by running into a wall, and whatever royal at the time was like, yes, this is my dog. Pug. Maybe that was the sound the face made when I hit the wall. Pug.
Oh, it's a pug.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were Asians. Or yeah, they come from China or something. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard.
I just know that they were bred for like to be companions for royals. That's the extent of the history of pugs that I know.
Mhm. Yeah, those are the only little dogs I like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch Parks and Recreation.
I don't.
Oh, that's why. Me neither, but I love Ron Swanson.
I
And
love
just
Ron Swanson memes.
yeah, him.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's one's like any dog under 50 pounds is a cat, and cats are useless.
I would go under 25 pounds. And then maybe I agree with that statement.
I mean, it just exaggerates, but that's what makes him
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, I get it. I'm just arguing with him.
You're just gonna argue with Ron Swanson
Yeah.
character.
I'm throwing down right now
All right.
with Ron Swanson.
All right, there's another one that he says. He says, anything that happened, or history began July 4th, 1776. Everything before that's a mistake.
Oh, yeah. There's that.
That Ron Swanson. He was in London or something for whatever reason.
Of course. Of course.
Oh, it was a honeymoon, and one of the Tammys couldn't go. So, because he was married to like two different Tammys, or girls named Tammy.
Understood. Yeah.
And he went, he's like, I don't get what's so great about Europe. I mean, we have clocks. He's like taking a picture of the Big Ben. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, we have clocks in America. Big deal.
Oh, I know it's supposed to be funny, and maybe it's one of those that it's funny because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry, because there are people that are like that.
There really are.
Well, so I was stationed in England for 3 years when I was in the Air Force. And there were people who they never left base, unless sometimes they went out to bars in one of the cities that we were near. But other than that, they never really left base. They never traveled to other countries, which is such a mistake when you're in England or Europe in general, because travel's so cheap.
And it's open.
Right. And so, they never did anything, and they just complained about how much it sucked and how much they wish they were back in America and how America's so much better. And I'm like, you haven't experienced anything except for RAF Mildenhall, the military base, and you want to say that England sucks based off of the military base that you're stationed at and live on, and that's your experience of Europe. That's your entire opinion of Europe. And because we don't have the same kind of mall here, or we don't have the same kind of food, you're not open to experiencing the culture that you're currently living in. And you just want to say that America's so much better.
Their food is better.
In England?
Well, I haven't been to England, but I'm talking about Europe.
Europe. Well, yeah, they're not pumping hormones and steroids and stuff into their food either. So,
yeah, that's why it's good.
There's always that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually liked English food. The English are not big on spices.
All I know is fish and chips.
Fish and chips is good.
It is good.
Yeah. All of their food sounds slightly inappropriate. You've got bangers and mash, which are sausages and mashed potatoes. Toad in a hole, which is sausages in Yorkshire pudding with gravy on top. It's good.
Some mashed potatoes. Basically.
And mashed potatoes, yeah, on the side. And mushy peas. I never understood the mushy peas. Didn't get that. But yeah, the rest of it was good.
That's interesting. Like, even different, like English, because they speak a completely different English than from here.
Yeah. The first time somebody who's from England asks you for a rubber, which is not the same thing as it is here. There it's an eraser.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. And then the boot is the trunk. Yeah. Aluminium instead of aluminum.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
I remember it was last summer, I think, I stayed at a hostel. And, like, our little group, it was me and this other guy from Arizona. And there was a Scottish couple. There's a few, like a group from Ireland.
Yeah.
And this other small group from Australia.
The Aussies, man.
The Aussies. Dude, I love the Aussies.
I ran into Aussies everywhere I went.
I love the Aussies.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, so it's like completely different Englishes. Like we all spoke
Yeah.
English, but then like Scottish people, like we're gonna have a wee bit of time or whatever.
A wee
like,
bit of
a what?
a fun time. Yeah.
Wee bit of a fun time.
Yeah.
A what?
Well, and even inside England, you know, it's like here.
Yeah.
You've got Texas, because it's just its own beast. Yeah. Then you've got the South, and then you've got the Northeast. You've got California, the Pacific Northwest. Everybody sounds different, and then you've got the Midwest. And what's going on, eh?
I honestly, I can't understand Southerners. Yeah, I'm from the South. Like they have such a thick accent.
Yeah. And again, different regions of the South.
Mm-hmm.
Because I lived in Charleston for 6 years, and even there, people who may have lived in Charleston their whole life can sound a little bit Colonel Sanders or just like any of the rest of us. It's crazy.
I've always thought about accents / dialects and like similar language, because you can understand whenever like a Hispanic person comes here and has Hispanic accent, they're really just speaking our language with the loss of their language.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when it's English, when you have all these different English accents and variations.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've not really encountered an accent that I don't understand. And I don't know if that's, again, because living all over the U.S. and then spending 3 years overseas, but I think eventually you have to figure it out.
And there's some people that you try not to be rude, but they're like, I'm sorry, I just can't understand you.
Yeah. It's hard at the drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
And because you can already hardly hear people. And when they're facing forward in their car and they're, yeah, I want to, whatever.
Yeah, like right now I couldn't even hear you.
Yeah,
your mouth
it's like you're facing down. You're facing away from the speaker, or they'll be turned in their car towards like the passenger seats ordering something.
Oh yeah, it's always those people, like they're trying to yell over like the person in the radio. Like, hey.
Yeah. And it's like, do you really think I can hear you? But then, yeah, you throw an accent into that speaker, and it's difficult.
Some people you just know what they get because they go there every day. Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Try one error.
Yeah. I think that should be Starbucks' motto: trial and error. We'll figure it out.
Especially those people that have like this super complicated orders. Like, dude, 2.5 of this, 3 of this, 1 of this, whatever. Like, I don't know how you figure that out.
How I figure once I've made it one time, then it's not a problem.
No, I mean, how do you figure out?
Oh, how do you figure that?
Drink?
Well, some of it's like secret menu, and people who I'm actually convinced are baristas that are doing this. They'll play with a drink and then figure out what it tastes like, and then they'll name it, and then they'll put it on people. Like this. Right? Oh. No, but I'm saying like they put it on Starbucks secret menu, and so you can find on. I don't know where the secret menu is. I've tried.
I've seen some like Reddit or
maybe Reddit. I've heard there's one on Instagram. Haven't found that one. Haven't looked that hard, if I'm being honest about it.
Yeah, you'll just type it up on Google. It'll show up.
Starbucks secret menu.
Yeah.
But
it's not even official. It's just.
Yeah. No. And I mean, that's how like the medicine ball, which is the honey citrus mint tea, that was an Instagram thing before it was a Starbucks thing. Starbucks adapted it and said, yeah, sure, we'll make money off of this and put it in our system. But then they can't call it, it's intellectual property at that point in time if they name it medicine ball. So then honey citrus mint tea. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm convinced it's baristas that for the most part start it, or people who just have refined, what am I looking for?
Taste buds.
Taste buds, thank you. And that they can kind of piece together, well, if I do this many pumps of caramel and this many pumps of hazelnut and this many pumps of mocha, it'll taste like a Snickers.
Yeah, there's some people that like the exact thing, and you'll forget a pump, and they'll let you know. Like,
oh, and they know.
Yeah, they do know.
Yeah.
They won't. They won't even taste it. They'll just look at it like you're missing this. Like.
No, there have been some that like it's typed in right on the tag, and then they'll take a sip of it, and they're like, it doesn't have this, and I'm like.
Yeah, but there's people that just look at it and it doesn't have this.
Yeah. I get paid to dedicate that much time to coffee. I couldn't do that for free. And not even for free, but like paying for it, you know, to dedicate that much time to figuring out this tastes like whatever. So I'm going to spend 3 minutes ordering my drink. And, you know, it's cool that people want to be that creative about something so simple in their lives. And it's the ones that do like, I want coconut milk and 1% milk, an extra 2%, even though the 1% is made from non-fat and 2%. And I went half and half. So half your cup is milk. What are you doing? Yeah. No.
I'm simple. Like, even if I were, like, the few times I went to Starbucks before I started working there, I just got a nice coffee with cream and sugar, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean...
One, it's overpriced.
Yeah.
The other one, it was just, it's simple, and it tastes all right. So.
Yeah. When you're putting all this stuff into it, and you're getting charged per syrup, per shot, per whatever, that's when it gets expensive. For sure. I wasn't super complicated before I started working at Starbucks either. Complicated only because I did almond milk and sugar-free vanilla, but like a sugar-free vanilla latte with almond milk. That's not crazy. Or my super crazy order of a green tea unsweetened. You know?
People mess that up.
They'd put liquid cane sugar in it. But again, before working at Starbucks, I didn't know that it came sweet. That was something I learned. Or, that standard is it's made sweet versus...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought there was sweet tea and unsweet tea. That was like my before Starbucks.
Like they made a batch of sweet tea?
No, literally that's all I thought there was, like sweet tea or unsweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
Until there's like, oh, there's this and this, like, wait, hold up, what?
Yeah. My funniest Starbucks revolution was before I started working there. I didn't know the passion tea was herbal, so it's got no caffeine in it. Well, my ex, he used to get like a Trenta passion tea with a bunch of sugar in it when he was tired, and then we'd be walking around like a mall or whatever, and he'd have most of it down, and he'd be like, gosh, I'm still just so tired. This isn't doing anything for me. It wasn't until I started working at Starbucks that I realized that it's not doing anything because it doesn't have any caffeine in it. So I texted him the day that like clicked in my brain. I'd been at Starbucks for 3 months before like the two even clicked. So I texted him and I was like, hey, you know how you're always tired after you drink the passion tea? That's because there's no caffeine in it.
But he still has the sugar in it.
Yeah. He ate a lot of sugar. So, yeah.
Yeah, after a while you start getting used to it.
Yeah. He would get 13 pumps of liquid cane sugar in there.
Oh. Tastes like diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what was there was a lady when I first started working there that got 34 pumps of liquid cane sugar in her tea. You had to do the pumps of sugar in the shaker before you made her drink it all, because otherwise it wouldn't fit in the cup.
I don't know how you figure out 34.
And then she'd sometimes say it wasn't sweet enough.
What?
Yeah.
How do you figure out 30? Like, that's my thing. Like, people that go and like have such a specific drink. Like, how do you figure that out?
I have to imagine it's trial and error. Like just taking a drink of it and saying this isn't sweet enough. Can you add X number more pumps of whatever? And no, this still isn't sweet enough. And then they just do the math.
I mean, that's like you said. That should be the motto. Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
So why did you start working there?
Long story or short story? I mean, this is a podcast, so long story, right?
Long story. Go for it.
So, I moved here from Charleston, South Carolina after my ex and I decided to get a divorce. It's kind of like, do we continue trying to force something to work that's not working, or do we actually save the part of our relationship that is, which was our friendship? And like I said, just a couple minutes ago. Like, he and I talk all the time still. We're still good friends, but I needed a change. I'd been in South Carolina for 6 years, and that's way too long for me to stay in one place. And I was looking at different grad schools for my master's degree. And there was the University of South Florida that's in Tampa Bay. And then there was the University of Arizona in Phoenix, I believe. Yeah, Phoenix. And then there was a couple schools here in Texas. Well, my best friend, who I was stationed with in England, texted me, and she was going through a pretty terrible breakup, and she kind of made a joke about, well, you should just come move out here. And that was before my ex and I had like talked about getting divorced. And, you know, I was just kind of like, yeah, if only that, you know, that wouldn't really work. And then everything happened with my ex and I. And I texted her one day. I was like, hey, so, you know, moving slightly out of the realm of hypotheticals, how would you feel if I moved out there and stayed with you for a bit? And she was like, yeah, that would be great. And so I looked a little bit harder at the programs that were here. And UT Dallas has a really good master's in public health program. And so, yeah, I kind of...
Is that what you're mastering in?
Yeah, public health with a concentration in epidemiology. So, yeah, I was like, I think I made the decision in a month. It's like, yeah, cool. Going to Dallas. My mom flew out, packed up my stuff. My ex and I already had the house sold before I left. And yeah, came out here. That's what... Oh, and then, sorry, I forgot the question, which was, how did I start working at Starbucks? I had been applying for research assistant jobs, which is what I was doing in Charleston before I left. I was working on smoking cessation research. And while I am passionate about not smoking and helping people quit, and how much of a individual and public health issue smoking is, it was not my thing. Smoking cessation research. It's very sad, especially because a lot of it has to do with lung cancer, and, you know, it's not even necessarily that you have to smoke to get lung cancer. So I started applying for other research assistant jobs out here in different areas of research: communicable disease, diabetes, and then PTSD, mental health research jobs. And I am overqualified for research assistant jobs and underqualified for research coordinator jobs. So I was getting interviews for research assistant jobs. And then with my military experience and my degree, they were just telling me that, you know, you're overqualified. We couldn't pay you what your degree and your experience says you should be paid. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell a job, I don't care that I'm overqualified. This is what I want to do. They're still going to hire somebody that they can pay at a lower rate, who will perhaps benefit a little bit more from the experience. And the research coordinator jobs, I got a couple of interviews, but I'm underqualified for that because I've only had about a year of research experience. So I was getting to the point where, okay, no, I really need a job now. And Starbucks was kind of on a whim. It was like, well, Starbucks is always hiring. And I was applying for other jobs that weren't retail based or food and bev based, because I did the retail thing and I swore I'd never go back to that. And I won't go back to clothing retail ever. And I actually thought I wasn't going to even get an interview, because I'd applied and it was like 2 or 3 weeks before I heard anything, and then had the interview with Josh. Walked away feeling a little bit better, but then it was still a couple days before they called me, and I was like, how do you bomb an interview at Starbucks? So yeah, that's how it started, and I actually really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a great job, because that's like my thing was I was also applying for a bunch of jobs, and then my friend Amin, he was like, hey, we're having a open, what do you call it?
Open house.
Like an open house, yeah.
Yeah.
We're having an open house. You should come. Like, dude, I do need a job. I'm gonna go try it, right? What can go wrong? It's Starbucks.
Yeah.
I go in, I did that. And 2 days later, he calls me like, hey, you got the job. I'm like, oh, all right.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I was here during the open house. Was Carrie there?
I think she was.
Yeah, I love Carrie. She's awesome. But yeah, no, I love the job. The people are great. Even most of the customers that we get that are regulars, they're great.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah, and it feeds my extreme extroversion that I
don't have.
Yeah. Most of the time going to work to me is energizing. It's not draining, unless we're short-staffed and we're busy, and then that's going to be draining on anybody. And it's not a matter of human interaction so much as you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, just saying nothing's on fire. It's fine. So yeah, no, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, the customers are great. I like talking to the cops. It would have been good to recognize the one that pulled me over at the time.
That was so funny.
That was funny. Wait, were you there when he walked? Oh, no, you were in drive-thru. I don't know if you saw him.
Oh, no, I saw it. I saw the whole interaction. And then he came in the next day. Or a couple days. He came in, was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, talking about it.
I was like, hey, you want to donate?
He put
Yeah, he put a decent amount.
A decent amount of money in that tip jar. It's like.
All right.
Okay.
See, I wasn't even mad because I always drive like that. And it was a matter of time before I was going to get a ticket.
Well, and it's kind of. You can't be mad if you know you were in the wrong.
Yeah.
Plus the Carrollton PDs, so they're great.
No, he was chill about it.
Yeah.
He was like, do you understand you're getting a ticket? I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, I totally did that.
I mean, yeah. And then he starts following me to Starbucks. So I'm like, wait,
what's happening?
Yeah, I was confused. It was still like early, so I wasn't thinking straight. But I was like, wait, why is he following me again? What did I do wrong?
Were you being paranoid?
Yeah.
like
what
am I doing?
What did I do? And this follows me in, and that's when it clicked. Like, wait,
he's going to Starbucks. Yeah, that was funny.
That's when it goes. It went all the way back. Like, wait, that's why he looked familiar. He goes there.
Cause you thought you recognized him, you just didn't know from where.
Yeah. Plus, I had a light shining in my face because it was dark. So like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't awake yet.
Well, you hadn't had your coffee yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have my. Everybody asks, how are you so energetic in the morning? I wake up 2 hours before I have to be at work so I can become a human being.
True. You do not.
Yeah. No, I don't roll out of bed and just come to work. No. That would be a whole different Nicole that you would see. You would not recognize that person. I wake up 2 hours before I have to be to work, have coffee, eat something, be it a piece of toast or whatever, slowly take my time getting ready so that I am awake by the time I come to work. And that includes when I have to open.
So 2?
So I wake up at 2. Okay. My first alarm goes off at 2. I'm going to be honest about the 4 a.m. thing. That's rough. But my first alarm goes off at 2. I usually roll out of bed around 2:30.
And it's like that with everyone. Plus, it's 2:30.
There are people that are going to bed when I'm getting up.
Yeah, or later.
Been a couple times where my roommate and her boyfriend are still awake when I get up to go to work.
They're still like in the club or whatever.
No, they're just
like their Snapchats.
Sitting out in the patio, drinking wine or whatever. And
see, I did that before.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't stay up that late. It's really hard.
The one time I did that, I was in Spain and it was summer, so I was like, whatever.
Well, and they don't eat dinner until like 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you how rough that was for me when I went. My friend, one of my friends that she's British, but her parents live in Spain, and I went.
Oh, I have a friend like that too.
Yeah, so I went on a trip to her parents' house, and like I flew in that day. We went and we got like just little snacks, tapas, and then we went back, and that was like noon, so that was lunch. Okay, fine. Well, then we go back, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. We hung out for a bit by the pool, and I was like, I'm going to go take a nap because I knew we were going out that night.
Siesta.
Yeah, going to go take a siesta. And I knew we were going out that night, and so I planned to wake up by 7, like thinking that's about dinner time because she said we'd eat dinner before we went. And I wake up at 7, and I get ready, and I go upstairs, and I'm like waiting around. 7:30 rolls around. 8 o'clock rolls around. I am starving.
It's like 9. Are you ready to go?
It was like 8:15, and I looked at her and I was like, Sam, when are we going to eat? Because nobody was even starting to cook yet. And she's like, oh, are you hungry? We're not going to eat till like 9:30. And I was like, you need to feed me right now. I don't care what it is, but I need food or I'm going to die. So they got me a snack, and then I was fine. But yeah, I was like, when are we going to eat? I would be perfectly happy eating dinner at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's great.
Then again, it's your schedule. Cause
even before. Well, okay, I guess that's not really true because before I moved out here, I would go to the gym before I went to work because I didn't have to be to work till 7. So I'm still like, I'm going to the gym at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and which means I'm still waking up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So, yeah. But I mean, being in the military, that's the schedule I was on.
Yeah, I was about to point that out. How were you before that? Do you remember?
Oh, I could sleep till like noon, 1 o'clock, and be great. It was fantastic. And then the military happened, and then all of that went away.
See, I could never do that.
Sleep that late? Yeah. No. Well, I mean, before, like I said, before I joined the military, so I was still a teen. You know, I joined when I was 19. But yeah, I could sleep till like noon, 1 o'clock. It was great. Yeah. I had no sleep issues.
No, that's when you get off work.
Yeah. Although I gotta say that's great. And being in the Air Force kind of turned me into a morning person. Yeah. Because you don't have an option. Especially, I didn't work a mid shift or a night shift. I worked day shift. So, you know, we had to be to work by, if it was a PT day, we had to be to work by 7.
A little closer.
Sorry. We had to be work by 7 or 8. But, you know, PT was at 5 or 6. So you do an hour of PT, and then you have an hour basically to shower, get changed, get ready for work, and be to work. So it was still waking up early and doing all that and getting used to working out in the morning, which was an adjustment.
Yeah, for sure. So what made you want to join?
My dad was Air Force, not when I was born. He was Air Force before I was born. But my grandfather was Air Force. He retired civil servant. Both of my uncles were Air Force, then retired Coast Guard. So pretty big
military family.
Yeah. Even my grandma, she was in the Navy. And my step grandfather was in the Navy. And I graduated high school a year early and immediately went to college, and that was a mistake. Because then it's your own schedule. And, you know, I didn't have any direction. It was just like my options were kind of go to school and you can live rent-free at the house, get a job and pay rent. And I had both. I had a job and I went to school. Or find your own way. Get out of our house. So I kind of, you know, I went to school, because it was the expectation just in general that you graduate high school and you go to college. And then B, so I didn't have to pay rent at my parents' house. And I completely blew my first 2 semesters of college. I just stopped going to class. Nobody was making me. It wasn't, mom and dad weren't making me get up and go to school. You know, class was in the middle of the day, so they were already at work. Nobody was forcing me. You didn't get that phone
call like, hey,
your kid's not in school. Yeah. No, because you're an adult and you're now responsible for your education. So I was doing that, or not doing that more specifically, and then working 2 full-time jobs, and I just didn't see any direction in my life, and the Air Force was always kind of there as like a vague threat from my dad when I wouldn't behave. Like, well, if you don't do this, you'll go into the military. Not thinking, oh, yeah, no, it's my choice. You can't force me to go in the military. But also there is like I can always fall back on this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of sat down. I was driving home one day it was a manager at Victoria's Secret. Worst job ever. And I was kind of driving home and I was just like, what am I doing? I'm not living. And I wanted to get out of Utah. And I knew eventually I'd want to go to college for something. I didn't know what that something was. But I also wanted to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So I went the next week and enlisted. Well, I mean, they say that like it's, yeah. Everybody always says, oh, I did this and then I enlisted. Well, no, I did that. And then I took the practice ASVAB and then I took the real ASVAB and then I did all the stuff at MEPS and then I enlisted. So.
And we more or less know what you mean when someone says, I enlisted.
Well, but some people don't.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't realize how, no, it's not that you just walk in and you enlist. That may have been how it was once upon a time, but now it's.
Or the Army.
Even the Army's not that way. You still have to take the ASVAB. You still have to take the physical. They have to make sure that you're not majorly broken before they break you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I like to be clear in that because some people do think it's just a matter of you're going to walk in and enlist and leave the next day, and that's absolutely not how it works. But yeah, that's what made me decide to join. So I joined, and I traveled all the way up to North Dakota.
From where?
From Utah. I joined the military to travel the world and got sent to North Dakota.
For Europeans listening to this, it's not very far. It's France to...
It's like, I love that you assume that Europeans are listening to this.
No, I mean, I have friends that live there,
yeah,
so
okay.
they are listening.
So for your friends that are European who live, yeah, it's like 1,200 miles, and I'm not even going to remotely try to translate that into kilometers.
It's not fairly far. It's not that far.
You can Google that on your own, Europeans.
Yeah, you Google that.
Yeah, so I went to North Dakota, and I went to North Dakota in June, and by about November, I was over North Dakota. It gets really cold there. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets really cold there.
I mean, it's in the plain.
Yeah, it's Canada can have it as far as I'm concerned. Canada can have North Dakota. They can just take it. It's fine. We'll throw
that's what Russia said about Alaska. Now we have oil.
Yeah. Yeah, there is oil in North Dakota because Minot Air Force Base is even further north than where I was in Grand Forks. And that's where all the oil is. They're doing a lot of drilling there.
So they're close to the Canada border?
I think Minot's like 80 miles away. And again, for kilometer conversions, you can do that on your own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was really cold. So in December, my squadron came down and they're like, hey, we have a volunteer deployment to Afghanistan. Who wants to go? My hand went up.
What year was that?
That was 2009.
Oh, so it
was December of 2008 is when they came down with it, and I went in February of 2009. And my hand went up so fast, and they kind of looked at me and they're like, you know, you're not going to be doing your job. You're going to be doing, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. It's called escort duty. And basically when you're on a base, and especially overseas, in the Middle East, there are different levels of access to the base that you have, but only contractors and and the military assigned to the base have access to like the flight line and the secured areas. But they still have to have construction done in those areas. So they would have military basically escort the lower security level people who were working on the base into the secured areas. And basically you just had to make sure they weren't taking anything or leaving anything. And I mean, I spent 6 months watching other people work. But but getting to know people from like Sri Lanka and Afghanistan.
Did you get to interact with civilians?
Yeah, so that's, I mean, not off base so much because I was on base, but you know, they do hire local nationals. So there were Afghanis that worked on the base. There were people from Sri Lanka, Turkey, Egypt, a couple other countries that I can't remember, but learning about their cultures from them was pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're on the base most of the time?
Yeah. I participated in one-ish humanitarian mission off base. It was to rebuild a school, but I mean, that was what the mission was, but we kind of got recalled back as we were heading out because it wasn't secured. So, yeah.
So yeah, it's something that goes into the military that people, like we're talking about this in the other episode, which actually aired today, which is from when this comes out 2 weeks ago, which people imagine like you're gonna go out and kill people and like go into actual battle, like the battleground,
like combat.
Yeah.
That's not so much a question I've ever gotten, like how many people have you killed? But that's because I am female, and there are still stereotypes. The most common question I get when I tell people that I was in the Air Force is, "You were in the Air Force? You were in the military? Really? You?"
Really?
Yeah, I was in the military. Or like my plates say veteran on them, my ID says veteran, and I'll get, "Well, you know you can't have veteran on your license if your husband was in." Yeah, I know. I was in. But I get a lot of that. I don't get so much the how many people did you kill? Did you ever see combat? Those aren't the questions I get. But yeah, no, I know a lot of people that do get those questions. And, you know, yes, that's a reality. That is a thing that happens. There are people who go into situations where they have to kill people. And it's treated like this entertaining subject, and it's not. The impact that has on human beings, period, is not good in no matter what the outcome
like on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you've taken a life, and how is your brain going to deal with that? Is it going to deal with it by not dealing with it, and then it leaks out in other areas of your life? Is it going to deal with it by you already had some sort of, and this is a rare circumstance, and I want to be clear about that because it's also a stereotype, but is your brain going to deal with that where there was already some sort of misfiring or chemical imbalance or underlying psychological issue that the military didn't catch, where that's going to now trigger a drive to kill? And or is it just going to break you? How are you going to deal with that? And I don't have the answer to that question because I'm fortunate enough that I didn't ever have to be in that situation. But, you know, I know people who have, and it's not a subject for entertainment like some people treat it. The look of amused interest that people get on their faces when they ask that question, how many people have you killed? You don't know who you're asking that to. You don't know how many people they had to kill.
Then again, it goes back to school because that's really all they learn about. It's all the wars America has been in.
Yeah, and you learn about it from the media, which is the least reliable source of what it's actually like.
Try getting a little closer.
Sorry.
You're trying to get away from it.
I know. That's why I told you I was going to do that. I told you I was going to sit back and get further away from the mic. But yeah, when the media is your source of information in an area where they don't know what they're talking about, you know, you hear one report that's traveled how far through how many different people, and it's one example of one thing that's happening in a war that's lasted for 20 years almost, going on 20. No, it's been over. If you count, Desert Storm, it's the war that wouldn't end. because it's a war against an idea.
Yeah.
And how do you fight an idea? You know, World War One was against a group of people. World War Two was against a group of people. I won't go into the Vietnam War, but you know, the only other war, and it's not even remotely comparable, that was against an idea was the Cold War, but it's called the Cold War for a reason. You know, nothing like it.
That was weird.
That was really weird. You've got the Cold War, but then the idea, you're fighting the idea of terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fight that? And it goes even further than that, you know? You're fighting, you know, terrorist organizations or whatever. How were they created in the first place? Who invaded their country? Who did what to them that created a hatred? And now we've got a hatred for them because we feel, you know, 9/11 was, and the anniversary of that was just a couple days ago. That was awful. And
that's when you start getting theories into what's it really them.
Right. And I can't even I can't even consider the option that it was something that the American government did for oil, because I don't want to live in a world where that's true. You know,
but it's a possibility.
It's a conspiracy theory that's out there. I will not discuss the validity of that theory, but it's possible. Of course, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I won't go so far as to say all the conspiracy theories out there are possible. They are, but you know,
some of them are more possible than others.
Yeah, there are.
Some of them have evidence.
There are conspiracy. Well, you can create evidence.
Yeah, you
to
can,
anything.
but some of them have actual, like, legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense.
Could make sense, yeah. And you know, there are conspiracy theories that have been proven true. I have to have a little bit more faith in humanity than we would stage that for our own personal gain, and that
like the size of the event.
You know, the number of people that died is, and the resulting number of people that have died, be it
not
Americans,
only that, but like the millions who got affected by it.
Right. You know, that span of effect, the optimist in me has to have more faith than that our own government would do that. I may be wrong, I may be naive, but that's where I gotta stand to be able to even remotely sleep at night. But, you know, it's just this self-perpetuating cycle. We go in, we've been there, and in my opinion, we've been there way too long. The drawback from Iraq, I still know people that get deployed to Iraq. We haven't pulled out of Iraq. We're still there. And
even Korea.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
it was apparently in the 60s or the 50s, the Korean War.
We still have military bases there. Yeah, I have friends that are stationed there right now. My sister's been stationed there. My ex was stationed there. But that's different. I mean, we still have bases in England. We still have bases in.
Then again, some
Europe,
of them are just like strategic.
Yeah, and that's
purposes.
That's
but
what
like the Korean one, for example, used to have a crazy leader there.
Yeah, and just get.
And he's only the third generation of them.
Yeah, but yeah, and that is a strategic. Most of the ones that aren't on American soil are strategic. But yeah, it's just the war on terror is a self-perpetuating cycle that isn't going to end until there's got to be a point where, even though we're over there, part of it is we're trying to rebuild things that we've destroyed. But we rebuild, it gets bombed. We rebuild, it gets bombed.
And there's still drones.
Yeah.
Like drone attacks happening on daily.
Yes. No comment. The drone issue is a whole separate issue, and has spawned a whole new area of war-related PTSD because there's a disconnect in that there's still a human controlling that drone.
Yeah, there is.
That human's not anywhere near where that drone is, and they're still killing people en masse, and it's like a video game with real consequences. And when you're in that isolated area where the drone control is, that's a theoretical idea in your brain, but then to leave that, you leave it. You just walk out. There's no, when you come back from a deployment where you're actually in like boots on ground in Afghanistan, in Iraq, whatever, you have like transitions back. So you stop at a base in between, and you may have a couple days there, and then you go back to your home base, and you don't go back to work until 2 weeks after you're back in the States. It's called bog dwell time. That 2 weeks, you're adjusting from what you just came from. But when you're a drone pilot, that doesn't happen. You do your job, you leave at the end of the day, you go home to your family, or whatever. You go home by yourself. Even worse. What if you're just a single person and you don't have a family there? You go home by yourself and then have to sit in what your day was. It's I'm sure it's gonna change, but it hasn't yet.
Hopefully.
And I hope it's gonna change.
That's the optimism in you.
Yeah, the eternal optimist. But yeah, it's interesting. It's different, and it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it makes sense. But even like cops have to do that now.
Yeah.
Especially with all the mass shootings that have been going on.
Well, but even then, I'm not a police officer, so and I've not worked in that. But
I'll have police officers later on to sit down and tell me their side about it.
Because my understanding is like, again, when something happens, you're still debriefed at the end of that day. And it might make for a long day. Or you're pulled off if you have to shoot somebody as a cop. And again, this is just my understanding as outside.
Yeah, obviously.
If you have to shoot somebody, there's an investigation. I do know that anytime an officer discharges their weapon, there's an investigation into why the weapon was discharged.
And that's body cameras now and everything.
Right, yeah. So, there's supposed to be that investigation. That means they're talking to people. And if they have to shoot people, the departments are supposed to provide counseling. Supposed to. Who knows if that happens everywhere and if it's enforced and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, they still have to go through, and PTSD is real in the police force. PTSD is real in the fire department, and that's one that's not talked about a lot. Oh, yeah, it really isn't at all. PTSD for firefighters, they see some of the worst of it.
Yeah,
most every time the cops get called, the fire department gets called. If it's a medical, the fire department gets called. If it's a fire, obviously, the fire department responds to everything.
They're the first ones there.
Yeah. And they're the ones with the EMTs and the paramedics before the ambulance gets there. They see the worst of it. And yet everybody talks about PTSD in the military, but people don't talk about PTSD in the fire department. People don't talk about PTSD in the civilian world outside of being a police officer or firefighter. That's like the least that's talked about. And it's trauma can happen anywhere. The post effects of that trauma can happen to anyone, and you don't know if it's going to be you. You don't know if everybody's affected differently. So, yeah. But the one that needs, definitely, in my opinion, more attention is PTSD for firefighters.
Yeah, they don't get enough of any credit.
Well, and that's one that I know from firsthand experience because my ex was a firefighter. He still is a firefighter. He would respond to he has responded to horrific car crashes. And he's come home and told me about it.
Oh yeah, we've completely forgot. Like, people completely forget about car crashes. They happen every day. It's
all
like
the time. Rollovers. And I won't go into details, but I mean, one of the worst ones involved a child that got ejected.
Oh God.
And he responded to that. And then they did it. They went back to the fire department. Nobody talked to them. They didn't have anybody come in to talk to them about how to cope with what they saw. They just finished their shift like it was no big deal. God. And then, he comes home and he's talking to me about it. And I can listen. I don't know what to say about that. I didn't go to school for that. Mm-hmm. I'm not trained in how to help somebody cope with that. So that is just, there's procedures in the police departments. There's procedures in hospitals. My mom's a respiratory therapist. And anytime they have a major death she works in a children's hospital. And unfortunately, the nature of her job, she works with a lot of cancer patients. Mm-hmm. She works with a lot of kids with CF. I mean, any disease that might even remotely affect the airway, or if they have to be intubated, she does it. And she gets attached to these kids. And they have some pretty terrible, a kid gets in an accident again and ends up at the hospital and has to be intubated. She sees that. Mm-hmm. And those kids don't always live. But anytime there's a death that affects her department, they have like a counselor come in and talk to them. And there's procedures in place for that. There's procedures in place for that in the fire department or in the police department. As far as I know, at least not in the fire departments he's worked at and not other friends that I have that are firefighters. There's no procedure for that. They're just expected to keep responding and keep going. And
even then, like you said, he was lucky to go home after each night and talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
But not everyone does.
Yeah. And, all the guys and girls out there that are firefighters, that are single, that they have to respond to something, and then they have to go home at the end of their 24, 48, 72, however many hour shift, where you're exhausted because, you sleep at the fire department, but the fire alarms are going off. If you have to respond in the middle of the night. And you got to be able to wake up if the alarm goes off. So how deep are you sleeping when you're at work? So you're sleep deprived. You're traumatized by what you saw, and now you have to go home by yourself, potentially. And you've had no counseling, nothing. Just, this is your job, deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if that's the same way with medics?
I don't, just because I don't have
like anyone in that. Yeah.
I don't know for ambulance crews, and maybe because, like I said, I know at hospitals there's procedures in place, but I don't know about for ambulance crews. If it's more like fire departments or if it's more like hospitals. And there very may well be fire departments that have things in place.
I mean, now they probably do.
I would hope so. I mean, like I said, he's still a firefighter. Mm-hmm. He works for the city of Somerville in South Carolina. Nothing.
Really?
Yeah. And, it may depend on the budget of your fire department, which is all government funded. So that depends on what the city's allocated to the fire department. And, counselors, therapists, they still cost money. And unless you've got somebody who's willing to volunteer their time, which, who knows it? I'm sure there are therapists and counselors out there who would be happy to volunteer their time to fire departments. Mm-hmm. But how many fire departments do you have in a city? I know Somerville's probably about the same size, roughly, maybe a little smaller as Carrollton. They have 7 different fire stations.
What would that be? 100,000 people, more or less?
Maybe a little less. Maybe a little bit less. But yeah, they have 7 fire stations. Each of those fire stations is staffed with a rotating crew. So you're looking at easily 200 firefighters. How many counselors do you have to volunteer their time? Mm-hmm. Unless you have a counselor on staff. But then are you going to have a counselor on staff 24 hours? Because who knows what time the incident happens?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And like I said, there may be fire departments that do that, but
Then again, that's just a small city of 100,000
right.
like people.
Yeah.
Imagine Dallas,
Dallas.
which is what?
Yeah. Or New York.
New York.
Or LA. Or,
Any big city.
any city. Yeah. I would hope that fire departments like that have something in place, but I don't have a lot of that's I think where my extreme optimism starts to die down a little bit. Cause
Am I killing it?
no, not it's this is stuff I've thought about, and when you're with somebody like that, you can't help but think about that stuff, or at least I think you can't help but think about that kind of stuff. So, yeah, brought this.
There's also psychopaths out there that don't have any emotion.
They don't have the ability to feel the same range of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They mimic what they think are the appropriate emotions. And that's a little bit what I was getting into with the military aspect is, unfortunately, that's missed sometimes. And I think I can name several serial killers that were in the military.
Mm.
Golden State Killer, Joseph D'Angelo, who's just caught in April of 2018, he was in the Navy. He was also a police officer. Yeah, so it happens, unfortunately.
Another thing that a lot of serial killers also do is most of them, if not all of them, are doped up while they're doing it, or if they've had like past problems with like mental problems.
We have entered a extreme area of interest of mine, which is true crime.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of serial killers actually haven't or don't use drugs because murdering is how they get their endorphins up. Some of them have, but not a lot of them. Yeah.
But they've also gone into like most of them have had like past mental disorders.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But that also goes into like drugs and like people coping with them or whatever.
Yeah. So if we're talking serial killers, yes, you usually do see a sociopath, psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
It's DSM criteria have changed and one of them doesn't exist anymore. Or you see like borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia. Yeah.
I'm not only serial killers, just mass shooters, because most of them are just they wake up and I'm gonna go shoot down a school.
Yeah. And again, that leads into what was some of it's bullying. I don't feel like as many school shootings now are bullying or the result of bullying as maybe once upon a time they were. But it's what does their home life look like?
Mm-hmm.
What does again, what psychological disorders are there? And so I listened to a lot of true crime podcasts, and I can't remember which one I was listening to. It was either Jensen and Hole's Murder Squad, or it was, I want to give credit. I think, no, it was Jensen and Hole's Murder Squad. And they were talking about how people ask them, why don't we see as many serial killers as we did like in the 70s and early 80s? And one of them was saying that, well, with the internet and with everything is filmed now. Camera, we've got a camera on our phone. We've got high quality cameras on our phone. In the case of the iPhone 11, we've got 4 cameras on our phone. Have you seen the picture of that thing?
Which one?
The iPhone 11.
Oh yeah,
with the 3
it
cameras
looks like
on
the
the
little
back.
aliens from Toy Story.
I saw somebody say, who decided that iPhone needed to go through mitosis.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why they call it a cell phone.
Yeah. So anyway, they were saying that, everything is filmed now. And between cell phones and surveillance footage and whatever. So people who may have grown up to be serial killers now are mass murderers. So put them in the context of the 70s, and they may have been serial killers. Put them in the context of modern day, and you get mass murders instead. It's fulfilling the same drive that is created by.
But I feel like it'd be easier to be a mass shooter than to be a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean that's basically their point, is that it's not easy to be a serial killer now.
Yeah, because no, not even that. I mean, even being a serial killer back then, there was a certain tactic you had to go. Because now you can just walk into Walmart and start shooting a gun if you have one. And like a serial killer, or at least from my understanding, they had a whole like tactic of how to not get caught and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you've got different kinds of serial killers. You have your ones that again, I was listening to a podcast.
Contract killers?
No. They're like ones that are, there's two groups, and I can't remember the names of the groups. Two main groups of serial killers and I can't remember the names. But one of them basically fits into low IQ. They don't really try to hide their crimes so much as they panic and they'll like throw the body out of a car just on the side of the road and try to get away from it as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other group of serial killers, which are higher IQ, and they like plan, and they will go through a lot of lengths to hide it and try to go on for as long as possible. And for that group, it's the intellectual challenge that also goes into it, not just the murder. For the lower IQ, they're more emotion-based.
Yeah, I'd be in the second one.
Yeah, you'd be in the second one?
I'd be in the second group.
Is this where you kill me?
I mean, we have cameras, so...
Okay. Well, you said it was about to die, so...
Oh. No comment. No, we still need you as a shift.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You're lucky. Anyways.
Yeah, so... Yeah. No, you wouldn't be in the second group anyway.
Why
Your
is that?
IQ's too high.
What do you mean?
I'm telling you, you're too smart.
No, but why would I not be in the second group?
Because the second group is... Oh, you're talking about the high IQ group.
Yeah, the high IQ
okay.
group.
Sorry. I'm getting the way I explained it
Yeah.
mixed up with the way they explained it, and they explained the high IQ
yeah,
group
I'd be in the high IQ one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're in that. Yeah, that group for sure. I thought you were trying to say you were in the low IQ group.
No.
No. But yeah. So those people now, even if that's what they wanted to do, the likelihood that they'd be able to get away with it and kill the same amount of victims, although they may want to stretch it out over a time, that they know that's not an option. Not to say that there aren't a ton of serial killers out there. There's why don't I remember the name of any of these? There's a website out there that you can see where they suspect there are active serial killers, and you can put in like different demographics and just see how many people of those demographics. So you can say like women under 20, over 25, under 30, brown hair.
It just gets really into detail.
You can, and then it'll show you how many people that meet that criteria have been killed in that area in whatever time span that you designate. And I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I'd be one of those that whenever they kill someone, they'd leave like a mark. So it's like, yeah, I was there.
Like you'd have a calling card.
Yeah.
As your serial killer alter ego would have a calling card.
I would.
What would your calling card be?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that if I were to kill someone.
Well, I need to know now.
Oh.
So that.
No, you're fine. We still need a shift.
I'm just saying, if I start seeing these murders and there's like your calling card, I can be like, hey, so...
Then again, I wouldn't... Yeah, that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't be able to tell you, because...
I was just trying to see if I could trick it out of you.
No, you won't. I mean, I don't have one, but if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
But see, now I know to look for something. Like, just a mark is the same mark as appearing on a bunch of bodies that just show up, and I can just be like... I can, Anne rule this with Ted, like she did with Ted Buddy. So, my friend Ted... I doubt it's him, but he does have a golden bug. And I'll just be like, so I'm just saying, my friend Jordan, it's probably not him, but we had this conversation where he said he'd leave a mark. So all these bodies have a mark on them. Just look into him. It's fine.
Then again, this is on like YouTube, iTunes, so
yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
Unless you edit all this out.
people would know.
I'm thinking ahead. Would they?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Would they?
No. Because I'm sure you've edited stuff out of the other ones.
No, not really.
No?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
One, I'm too lazy, and two, it's just
Too
like
much
the
work.
flow.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
gotcha.
that goes into the laziness part, but it's
Yeah.
also like the flow of the conversation.
The flow of the conversation, okay. Well, if I listen to this, or if this episode never comes out, then I'll know to start keeping an eye out.
Mm-hmm. Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a reason to kill anyone.
Well, but does any... I mean, like...
Yet.
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 Okay. Just gonna keep an eye on you, Jordan.
All right.
Keep an eye on you. Yeah. And if you're going into the whole reason thing, I mean... serial killers don't really have a reason either. They've got their made-up reason in their brain. Like...
I mean, I haven't found my made-up reason in my brain yet.
Okay. Cool.
Yet.
Good to know. It's going to be over coffee, isn't it? It's going to be over somebody saying...
That's going to be my latte art. Just here.
that's going to be your calling
mark.
card symbol. You're going to just make latte art. Yeah.
It's going to be like the same thing over and over again. Hold
we
up.
keep seeing a Starbucks cup next to all these bodies. What's happening? Is the killer just drinking a lot of Starbucks? But you can't leave DNA.
Yeah.
Just remember that. Because now it's...
So it'd be another person's drink. So it would trace back to them.
To them.
Mm-hmm.
Laying all the groundwork here. This is where it happens.
I like how we're planning this out.
Yeah, well, you know.
It is fun to think about. I mean, that's a bad thing. That's a bad way to say it, but you know what I mean.
True crime is intriguing because it can happen to anyone, anywhere, and that's my interest in it. I didn't even realize, and you know, I will give full credit to My Favorite Murder for this one, but I didn't even.
Favorite murder?
That's what the podcast is called, My Favorite Murder.
I thought it was an actual murder.
No.
That you called.
No, I have not murdered anybody.
Yeah.
No, I'll hopefully ever. I can't do that. That goes into the too much work thing. Because you got to do it. You got to hide it. I'm not getting away with it. I'd trip. Let's be honest. I'd trip or I'd spill something on myself. That's how I get caught. But I give full credit to the podcast, My Favorite Murder on this one, that I didn't know true crime was something you were allowed to be interested in. And I remember growing up, like, I'm from Utah, and hi Ted Bundy, hi Josh Powell. Like, we've got so many people that come out of Utah, and
Mormons.
Yeah, those guys. But
they get their own planet after they die, so.
I don't think you're thinking about the Mormons.
Who am I thinking about?
You're thinking about a different cult. Not that the Mormon religion is a cult.
I thought they were the ones that got the planet.
No, they all become angels if they've been baptized
so it was
in the temple. It's a cult. They got their own planet. I can't remember which cult.
It's not Scientology.
No, it's not Scientology. It was Order of something.
Dude, I was pretty sure it was the Mormons.
No, they don't get their own planet.
Oh, they don't? Dang.
No, I know what cult you're talking about, though. But yeah, I just remember growing up and my mom would like come home and we'd talk about stuff at the hospital or off Interstate 80 that runs through Utah and the Salt Flats. That's a very popular body dump.
It makes sense because it's salt.
Do you know what the salt?
Oh no, wait, no, never mind. I thought about it the other way.
Well, and it's not like a couple of years ago, there was a woman who was chopped up and put in a suitcase, and they threw the suitcase out of the car on the edge of the road. The only reason she was found is because somebody was like, "That's a really suspicious suitcase," and they called the cops. But I remember growing up and talking about all that stuff and like being intrigued by it and being like, "So what happened next?" And then kind of feeling like I was creepy for asking questions about. It's interesting, and it's like the more you know, maybe you won't get murdered.
Maybe that's how they work. Maybe they kill the people that know about the murder so they won't have to tell anyone and they don't have witnesses.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I know if I get murdered, and I'll just put this out into the universe because, you know, if I get murdered, it's like somebody will be, "Hey, you want to see my dog?"
Oh.
like yeah. I want candy. If you've got a van full of puppies, I'm a goner. Like, that's it.
You want to see my dogs after this?
See? I'm on to you, Jordan. Remember, I still have to be a shift.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I'm being nice. Do you want to see my dogs after this?
Yeah.
All right.
See? This is how that's all it takes. Somebody could drive up and I'd have all kinds of bad vibes about them. And then they'd be like, hey.
What if they kill you, but at least they did have dogs there? What if the dogs kill you?
I don't think the dogs would kill me. Animals like me.
Yeah, that is true. Some people just have that. Like, animals love them.
Mm-hmm. I went to the zoo and they had like a bird. It was at the zoo in Columbia, South Carolina. And they had an enclosure with birds. You get these little cups of nectar.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, it's cool. And there was like 30 people in this tiny little enclosure, all of them with cups of nectar. And then there were like cups of nectar laying all around from people who got bored being in there. Plenty of options for these birds to go. I had one cup of nectar and I had birds along my arm. I was just waiting for one of them to start putting me in a dress. Like, straight out of Disney. Yeah. Yeah. Or for them to start singing or something, just spontaneous singing. It was crazy. And then my parents have a friend who has a fox. And apparently the fox doesn't like anybody. This is what I was told. But they also told me they have a fox, so they had to show me the fox. Like, I want to see the fox. And she was like, well, he doesn't really like people. So I sit down on the ground and he ran right up to me and rolled over and showed me his belly. So I don't think
I've had that happen with dogs.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, he always barks at everyone. I'm like,
and then they're just like,
it's not barking at me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think the dogs would kill me. It's the serial killer who's luring me in with the van full of dogs who's going to kill me. Because I'm going to fall for it.
Well, at least you will see dogs before you die.
As long as I have dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't, I mean, I'll be dead, so not
you
much I
wouldn't
can do
remember
about it. Yeah. But as long as I get to see dogs, fine. It was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I'd be sad if they didn't have dogs.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to see my van full of dogs? And you get in the van and there's no dogs. And you're like, hey, oh. Okay.
No, I wouldn't be the asshole. And I would have dogs there. I would have, like, my dog. Like, my van full of dogs. And I'd shoot you.
Yeah, see.
But you see dogs. And you die happily.
Yeah.
I remember there was this one quote I saw. I don't trust a person that doesn't like dogs. But I
trust a dog who doesn't like a person? Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Humanity.
Have you ever had that happen where your like super friendly dog has reacted bad to somebody?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
I mean, not all the time.
What kind of people are you hanging out with? Serial killers. My Rottweiler, Athena, before she passed away, she would have helped somebody rob me. Like if somebody tried to break in my house, she was only ever a visual deterrent. Mm-hmm. She was not actually gonna stop anybody. She would have helped somebody carry my TV out. That's how much she loved people. The first time she growled at somebody who came in my house was somebody I invited in, and she growled at them. She had never growled at anybody ever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh hey, I totally forgot that I have something that I had to do today. Can we, we'll get together later. Didn't ever talk to that person again.
Did you find out why he was growling at?
I trusted her. I trusted her 100%.
It's just like one of those stories that like, oh yeah, my dog growled at him. Next week, he went to shoot someone.
I mean, just in general, he was kind of a creep. Like, later kind of found that out. But I never heard anything specific.
Before that?
Well, before that, I mean, he was fine. He was just always a little weird, like a little awkward. But people are awkward. Social anxiety's real. But after she growled at him, and
you're I'm gonna head out.
Well, it was at my house, so we were gonna go see a movie, and I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about this thing," and I was like, "Can we go another time?" And then I was never available again. But it was weird, like chills.
Yeah,
down my spine.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. But
do they know something we don't?
I think that they have to be able to sense intention or what, and you say that, so do they know something that we don't? but we sense things about people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure there are people you've met and you've kind of been like not getting the greatest vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but society has kind of taught us that to be polite
Mm-hmm.
and to, you know, ignore that and just go with it and it'll be fine. So we've spent so long as a species kind of pushing that instinct down that we don't always listen to our gut when it's telling us something isn't right. And we need to get better about listening to our gut when telling us something isn't right.
No, that's why I keep it real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the shit talk you were talking about earlier?
Which one?
Like when you go to one person and say something to them and
oh yeah,
another, that's keeping it real.
I mean, I get bored. You see, because like my dad and my brother, they get into arguments a lot. Sometimes I'll provoke them just for fun.
So you do it to your own family.
Yeah, I'm that person.
Got it.
See, I need my own source of entertainment.
Can be your own source of entertainment.
I get bored of myself sometimes. So I'm like, I need something else.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, listen to your instincts.
Very true.
And then we'll be more like dogs.
That one came out weird.
It did. Maybe we'll become better people because dogs are better, and if we listen to our instincts, I don't know. There's a lesson in there somewhere. I'm too tired to figure it out.
Are dogs better though?
Are dogs better than people?
Yeah, they are.
Oh yeah.
People are. I try to be I lost the word.
Good person?
Well, that too. Optimist.
Yeah.
I try to be optimistic, but there's sometimes like, yeah, no, that's not.
It is hard in the world we live in to be an optimist.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you. Yeah. Dogs are definitely better than people. We don't deserve dogs. Like I said earlier, we don't deserve animals in general.
We don't deserve animals, but then we are animals.
Yeah.
If I were to have an animal, it probably, I can't speak. It would probably be either a lion or a crocodile.
Crocodile or an alligator?
Alligator, just 'cause their temperament is more chill.
Mm-hmm. They're not naturally aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crocodiles are cool.
Have you seen those little caiman?
Like the little
lizards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that look like mini. I want one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my answer to your wild animal question. I want one of those little caiman.
I thought you said foxes, or
I changed it.
you just not.
Just now. I remembered caimans.
Mm.
Yeah, but if I couldn't get my hands on a caiman, like a fox or a raccoon, for sure.
Raccoons are so assholes.
Yeah, but they're cute, fuzzy, fluffy assholes.
I remember, who was it? Oh, it was my biology teacher. He was talking about the word cute, and he doesn't understand why people, majority of them females, choose something just 'cause it's cute. It was like a whole.
Does your biology teacher really not understand why females in particular? Because I can.
Oh no, he does.
Mostly
but
unqualified.
Still,
give him the answer to that question. Females are the ones with the maternal instinct. We were the ones who evolutionarily stayed home with the children.
The
Babies
flowers,
are
he chose
cute
them.
because like their eyes are big so that their mothers don't kill them when they're sleep deprived. So females naturally will pick something just because it's cute, because it's our evolutionary instinct. Bam, biology professor.
Evolution is real.
It is.
You know what I don't understand? Them, people that don't believe in evolution, and flat earthers.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're getting into this.
Oh no.
I want to know what their point is in like debating on Instagram comment section.
That the earth is flat. Have you watched the Netflix documentary?
Mm-mm.
You should.
What do they say?
You should just watch it. I can't. I spent an hour and a half screaming at the TV.
See, I don't have Netflix, and I never had one because I borrowed it from someone, and I don't know if they canceled it or whatever.
They're like, I'm tired of Jordan mooching off my Netflix account.
No, it wasn't that. Because I wouldn't even use it all the time. It's like every once in a while.
I am sure you know somebody who has a Netflix account.
Probably. I'm going to forget in like 5 minutes.
I'm going to text you constantly. Right, have you watched the Flat Earth documentary?
You need to text me that.
It's the best, worst thing I've ever seen. And in the middle of it, well, they do a science experiment. And it goes wrong. So, because they're using poor scientific method and research design and many, many other things. But in the middle of this story, this documentary about flat earthers, there's a love story.
About why that started?
About two flat earthers falling in love.
So it's basically Adam and Eve, but in flat earth.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to watch it. Like I said, it's the best, worst thing I've ever seen. But yeah, flat earthers, I feel like they're just nerds who never found comic books or anime or whatever, and so they don't belong to a people.
I mean, I'm one of those. I was never into that.
But were you into music? Were you into...
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So you found something. You found something to focus your nerd energy on. And I feel like these are people with extreme social anxiety. They are nerds. And I'm not saying all people with social anxiety think the earth is flat. I think these are people with extreme social anxiety who never found their thing. And so one person thought of this thing and was like, yeah, this is my thing, flat earth. And all these, I'm going to accept anyone who believes that the earth is flat. So you have all these people with social anxiety who are like, oh, there's somebody who will accept me no matter what. All I have to do is believe the earth is flat. But then you get enough people talking about how the earth is flat and the little test with the...
and then it becomes their own reality.
Yeah. There's a conference.
Oh, I've seen... One of my favorite signs was like, we have people from all over the globe.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. So say that again.
It was like, we have members from all over.
Yeah, but it's like when speaking to a flat earther, it's like, you have members all over the...
globe.
What did you say? The globe? Globe? Round? Yeah. Flat earthers. And what was the other one you said?
What was the other one?
We got off on flat earthers and I can't.
It was flat earthers. Dude, I forgot.
Yeah.
We're talking about it.
Oh, people who don't believe in evolution.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Then again, like, for one thing it's true because we do live in a country that accepts any idea.
Yeah.
But it also comes to an extent.
It should accept any idea as long as we find it tolerable, or if it fits in our agenda. We're supposed to accept any idea, right?
And that starts going into perspective of what you believe in.
Yeah, and when, how do I phrase this? We're supposedly a country founded on religious freedom. Yet, we seem to not be very tolerant of religions that aren't Christianity. And so you get this one nation under God debate going that I'm not going to participate in. But
get a little, yeah.
But there are people who think that the two have to be mutually exclusive. That you can be either believe in a higher power or believe in evolution. And those two don't have to be mutually exclusive.
I mean, they can, because I believe that. I believe in evolution, but life is here for a reason. Yeah. Like, we're not the only things here. There has to be something else above us.
Yeah?
Because I like reading a lot of, like, sci-fi and stuff like that. And, like, one of my favorite ones is string theory, that all I know from that is that there's 11 dimensions. Or... yeah, something like that. In the string theory, it's one of the theories, like, there's 11 different dimensions. We only live in 3 of them, which are the 3
past.
space ones.
No,
like space. So like length, width, and height.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And if you can add a 4th into that, it would be time.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's 1 dimension of time, because time only moves forward.
Right.
And you have 3 of space. Because if you
Yeah.
if you want to find someone, you're gonna tell them a place. If it's not the exact address, it's gonna be like you're gonna name them 2 streets. Like I'm off of this and this street.
Yeah.
And you're gonna name a time.
Yeah.
So that's 3 dimensions.
Mhm.
And string theory says there's 11 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you think that equates to there being something above us?
There has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is one of my favorite examples of dimensions, and it's from Neil deGrasse Tyson. So he says, imagine this desk, and you start putting pieces of paper on the desk. And if you're a one-dimensional ant, you're gonna say, "There's no more room here.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?" Us, because we live in a 3-dimensional place, we're gonna say, "I'm gonna take this piece of paper, and I'm gonna put it up in a filer."
Yeah.
So now, if you're that little ant living on the surface, you're gonna think that it disappeared, like it's out of the 2 dimensions, but you put it in the 3rd dimension.
Right.
So now you have the desk, you have the whole room, which is 3 dimensions. You start putting a bunch of boxes. Like right now, my room is getting pretty crowded. So now I need to think about where am I gonna put all this stuff?
Right. And
it's
that
only at
stuff
3
doesn't
dimensions.
just disappear, but it just gets moved. So,
If there's a 4th dimension,
yeah.
they're gonna say, put it here. Like, for example, like we're looking at the ant and we're telling the ant, why didn't you just put it in the 3rd dimension?
Yeah.
But the ant doesn't know about the 3rd dimension because it's like links in width. That's where we are right now.
So we're the ant in somebody else's world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, like in Monsters Inc., like the whole like the doors.
Yeah.
Like they open the door, they go to another dimension.
Yeah.
Like they got, like it was also talking about how that science is right. Like obviously, you can debate monsters speaking English.
Right.
That's not very accurate, but that's a whole different thing. But they got science right of opening a portal to another dimension.
Yeah.
So it's like the other person can say, open this door, put the boxes in there. It can be even a closet.
Right.
So whenever you say, open the closet, put the box in there. So whenever you close the door again, all you're going to see is the door.
Right.
You're going to see that the box is gone from the room.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you open that, the closet becomes a 4th dimension. But us living in a 3-dimensional world, when the door is closed, we don't see it.
Yeah.
Until we open up the portal, which is a door.
Yeah.
So that's that. Have you ever started reading the book I gave you?
No. It's sitting there waiting to be read.
It is.
It is waiting to be read.
How long is your list?
I'm reading 3 different books right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on it. Okay. The next book I finish, I will start that book you gave me.
So it's like right before that, those 3.
The list is longer than that.
Well, yeah,
but
is.
I will move your book up
so I can get
I'm
it back.
Borrowing it, so you can get it back. Yeah.
What do you like to read?
A little bit of everything. Big fan of Harry Potter. Although my favorite book is Pride and Prejudice, which I just finished reading I don't even know how many times I've read that book. I could read that book consecutively and still love it. I'm reading Picture of Dorian Gray right now. I just finished reading Billy Jensen's Chase Darkness with Me. He's a true crime writer who started doing this. He didn't start the Citizen Sleuth trend, but he's kind of made it popular right now, I guess I'll say. And I just started Michelle McNamara's I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And she's the one who changed the name of the Golden State Killer was originally called the East Area Rapist Original Night Stalker. And she's the one that coined the term Golden State Killer, which is what brought a lot of attention back to him because he was active in the 70s and 80s and was never caught until last year. So I'm reading that one right now. Yeah, a little bit, like I said, a little bit of everything.
I never got into fiction.
No?
Really? No. I don't know why. I just didn't. Then again, it was probably because it was forced. Like in school, they make you read these books by whenever.
Yeah.
No.
See, and I was the kid that
You were a bookworm.
Well, you had the Scholastic Book Fair.
Mm-hmm.
But you also, this may be pre your time. There was a time where you could read a book and you'd take a quiz on it, and you'd earn points for each book you read, and those points ended up, and you like got to go to a store inside your school, and you'd get stuff with those points. So I'm very competitive, and I wanted all the points, and so I would go onto the list and look at the books that were worth the most points and read those. When I was in 5th grade, I actually got in a argument with my teacher who, it was a mythology book, and I can't even remember the name of this mythology book, but it was listed at freshman in college reading level, and I'm in 5th grade, and she's like, you can't read this, you'll fail the quiz. And I was like, no, I won't.
That's a bet.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I'm not approved, because if it was over your reading level, you had to get it approved. And she's like, I'm not going to approve this book because you're going to fail the quiz, and I'm not going to set you up for failure. And I was like, I won't fail the quiz. I'll be fine. And she was like, fine, you can do this. You have to read it in a month, and you have to it was like basically a 95 on this quiz or better. And because that's the point at which you got all of the points.
Yeah.
You still got it. That one was worth like 50 points. If you got a 95 or better, you got all of the points. So she's like, you have to get at least a 95, and you have a month to read it. And then if you don't get a 95, then I won't approve anything above a 6th grade reading level for you. Oh. And so I finished it in 2 weeks, and I got 100 on it.
Nice.
So I've been a voracious reader my whole life. I was more into fiction for the most part. Actually, I didn't get into nonfiction until recently.
Really?
Reading true crime books. But yeah, not a huge fan of nonfiction, but I'll read it sometimes.
That is something that the school lacks, because they make you read certain stuff. And for example, like you said, they weren't letting you read this book because it's in a higher level than what you're supposed to read. And that starts going into the school system and saying that failure is a bad thing. Right.
Well, and not allowing students to challenge themselves. Because they're teaching that failure is a bad thing, and there are much worse ways in which we're teaching kids en masse that failure is a bad thing. Not giving out, not competing for score.
Yeah, like even now they have like the participation
trophies. Yeah. That's teaching kids, or it's failing to teach kids how to lose and win gracefully. And those are equally important. Yes, it's important.
Yeah, I hated losing, but that's how I got better.
Right. Well, you hate losing, but also there's a way to lose with grace.
Yeah.
But as much, if not more so, there's a way to win with grace.
Yeah. But you also learn from losing.
Yeah.
Like when you hate losing, well, don't do it. Get better.
Right.
And, well, you have to get better.
Yeah. And absolutely. But you get adults that win, and they're the worst person to be around. Because they never learned how to win with grace.
Our president.
Oh, boy. Yup. I mean, what?
Wasn't he talking about that last year? About he was saying that they got the number of people at his presidential inauguration wrong. That it was much higher than it was supposed to be. Whatever.
I can't with the chief Oompa Loompa. I can't. Yeah, he says all kinds of things that it's really hard to verify the source of his information.
Fox and Friends.
Yeah, I mean, even just some of the random things he says, it's like, I'm sorry, where did you get this? Out of thin air? Okay, good. But yeah, no, it's not teach, like when I was growing up, and I don't know what it was like for you in sports and stuff. Did you?
It was right in the middle. I feel like it was the end of the losing and the beginning of the participation awards. Yeah. Because I don't remember, like earlier, I don't remember getting like a participation one. It's just like you lost, whatever.
You lost, yeah. And it may have started earlier in different places. I
Yeah, but
imagine that Texas is one place that would have held on to keeping score.
oh yeah.
But, you know, when I was growing up in sports and whatever, where it was a competition, you had to go up to the losing team and tell them, good job, thank you for trying hard, and you shook everybody's hand.
Oh no, it's still like that.
Yeah, but when you're not keeping score, what does that matter? Everybody's shaking each other's hands, but, you know, nobody kept score, so who won? So when you win as an adult, you've never won before because you just got a participation award. And so you don't know how to still support whoever lost out to you. And on the opposite side, as if you lose as an adult, that crushes people now. If you don't get a job, well, why didn't I get the job? I applied. Okay, well, just because you applied doesn't mean you get the job. And then they don't know how to deal with it. And, you know, it's important life skills that we still need to teach children.
Yeah. Sports, yeah, because I was in sports I was around them all my life. And like you said, if I didn't get a job, what would I do? I should go to the next interview, do better. That's it.
Ask, in what ways can I, what was it about my interview or about my resume that I can improve upon?
See, that's the type of person I am.
Yeah.
Because I hate losing,
right?
But it makes me want to do better. Like,
yeah.
I love the idea of losing makes me a better person, makes me better at whatever I'm doing, but I hate losing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do better. I
and
gotta win.
That's what it should do. It should motivate
I mean, that's really like competition.
Yeah.
Overall, because that's really what.
Which is what life is.
It is. Especially like in the type of place we live in, because whenever you talk about like the different economies, like what the U.S. has, about like even how airlines started, because they started out as airmail, right? And it was government funded, so they're like, we're gonna give the contract to whoever has a better plane. So you're going back and forth like, oh, this person did this, so I'm gonna make my plane a little bit bigger. Yeah. And they're like, oh, they have a bigger plane, but my plane goes faster. Right. And they just lead up until one of them said, well, I'm gonna start carrying people. Yeah, I'm gonna carry people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and now you have basic economy where you can't check a bag and you can have one carry-on. You don't get to choose your seat. You can pay a little more for economy. You get to check a bag. You can have 2 carry-ons. You get to choose your seat. You have economy plus or whatever, depending on the airline, where you get a little more leg room. So it's just a competition for who can get the better seat or who can afford the better seat.
It's not only that, but it's like it all started with the competition. Yeah. With, if you had a better plane, I'm going to give you money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still going.
I mean, it still is, but we're starting to go into a different path.
Yeah, different type of competition. It's like who can carry the most people for the least cost impact on the company.
One plane, so I'm talking about like schools. We're starting to go to the path where it doesn't matter if you lose or win. Yeah. At least that you try.
Right, which is definitely an important element.
I mean, it is.
But how much effort are you really putting in if you know you're still going to get an award? You know?
Yeah, that's like the point I was going to.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Participation.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the whole... It kind of leads into the... not that they are the same thing, but communist socialism debate and why doesn't work. Not to say that socialism doesn't work, because there are countries in which it does, but communism more specifically, you're going to have people who still work really hard. You're going to have people who work really hard and work much harder than others. You're going to have the kind of middle ground. You know, they work hard, but they don't work as hard as group A.
They go to the expectation, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. And then you've got the people who are like, well, it doesn't matter how hard I work, because I'm still going to get it, because everybody gets the same amount. And that's how it is with participation. You're going to get the people who, no matter what they do, because their personality type type A personality,
Mm-hmm.
they're always going to work probably sometimes above their capacity, like above their physical or mental capacity, and they're going to work themselves so hard that it's draining. And then you're going to have the people who are kind of middle ground. They work to the expectation. And then you're going to have the people where it's like, well, what does it matter? I'm still going to win an award if I work really hard or if I kind of just take it easy. So why not take it easy?
Yeah, and it's also like, it's that, and also that they teach that failure is a bad thing. They punish you.
Right.
For failing.
Yeah.
Like you said with your teacher, that if you failed to read the book,
she wouldn't approve me.
Yeah. She wouldn't approve you and like other stuff.
Yeah.
And it goes to like the whole failure is a good thing. Like losing and failure.
Yeah.
Teaches you.
And I think I understand her intention and where she was coming from, which is tamping down on some of the hubris that I had. That, no, I can do it. That very cocky attitude of, you can't tell me what I can do. I can do whatever I want to do. And that needed to be tamped down, and the military smushed that out of me a lot. It still rears its ugly head every once in a while. But I get her intention, which was manage your expectations, and yes, it's good to challenge yourself. However, I was a fourth grader.
Yeah.
The only reason I wanted to, and I do love mythology. So when one of the highest books that I hadn't already read was a mythology book, of course I was interested in it. But she knew the main reason I wanted to read that book was for the points. She wasn't fooled. That lesson didn't really work out in her favor.
Yeah, I mean, you got the points.
I got the points.
Yeah.
And I had, any book I ever picked up, I would read the first couple pages, like standing in the library, just to see if I could grasp it and if I'd have that reading retention. So as it was, I already kind of had a checks and balances system in place for myself in the fourth grade. But it's just, again, I get the lesson that she was trying to teach, and, you know, yes, challenge yourself, but also manage your expectations and don't overexert yourself.
Which goes to the very beginning of this whole podcast, self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Be aware of your capabilities in general. Yeah.
So any last things, last ideas, last comments about murders?
Don't do it. It's not worth the jail time. You will get caught. It doesn't matter how sneaky you think you are. You will get caught. I promise. One day you'll get caught eventually.
I don't even know if you're telling me directly or just overall.
In general, the audience.
The audience,
at large,
don't kill people.
If I had one last message to send out, it would be get your flu shot. Do it.
Oh, there's also that group of people that don't believe in science.
Anti-vaxxers.
Yep.
Who believe in the highly discredited Andrew Wakefield research, if that's what you want to call it, paper that got pulled out of the Lancet, that there's no correlation between vaccines and autism. It doesn't exist. Also, you ingest more aluminum in a single meal than your lifetime of vaccines. Get your vaccines. Get your flu shot. Also, I'm putting it on record. The flu shot cannot give you the flu. If you are not immunocompromised, which means, you're not undergoing treatment for cancer or some other disease, or you don't have an autoimmune disorder, you cannot get the flu from the flu shot. If you are one of those people who says, every time I get the flu shot, I get sick, I am just going to ask you, A, when did you get the flu shot? If you got it like now, flu shots are available now, free with most insurance, just saying. If you get it now, there aren't going to be that many sick people at the places where you go to get the flu shot, like the pharmacy or your doctor's office. So you won't catch something else while you're at the doctor's office if you get it in September versus if you get it in December when flu season is high. Like in the middle of flu season, full blast flu season, yeah, you're going to get the flu. It's not going to be from the flu shot, or you're going to get sick, because everybody's sick. But even if you get the flu, you had it before you got the flu shot, I promise you, or you got a different strain. If you get the flu shot, even if it's a bad year, oh no, you opened this door, my friend. Roll your eyes all you want. I'm on this soapbox.
I just wasn't expecting this. We talked like 2 hours or whatever it's been, and you're just not saying this.
Well, you asked for final messages, and it's the beginning of flu season. This is what's happening.
That's very true.
Even if it's a bad year, so that means that they didn't predict the right strain of the flu, you're still better protected against any strain of the flu if you get your flu shot. Also, every flu shot you get each year builds up in your immune system. So when you are older and can't get the flu shot because you are immunocompromised, your immune system will be better prepared to defend your old ass against whatever flu you might come across. Get your flu shot.
That's a great message.
Thanks.
I'll see everyone later.
Bye.